Thanks for tuning in to Big Air TV. Today, we're going to go through a Cuda tower installation on the company Mastercraft. We're going to go in and go back through the steps to install this tower. As you can tell, it's already installed right now, but we're going to walk you through the process and show you how easy it is to install a Cuda tower, which is an incredibly strong and one of our best-selling towers. So come along with us as we take you through this process today.
We're ready to put our black powder coated Cuda tower on our company boat here. And we've got a lot of different towers in this boat, but it's a great test bed for us to try towers out. So we're going to show you how to put it on this Mastercraft today. So the secret to a good tower installation is being true and accurate on your side-to-side measurements. And the best technique that we found for this is to actually run a string from the front of the boat, center of the boat, to the back. And so if you'll see here, if the camera will come around, you'll see we tie a string right around the center of the boat there, whatever fashion, and run it down our pylon. You might have come to your ski eye, and then we've centered a T on there. So now I know where my T is at. Now, I've made a T out of 2x6s. I know it's a big T, but they're very cheap and very abundant. And you square them up with a simple square, screw them together, and let this is a 2x6, but you can make it out of 2x4s, and let it protrude out over the side of the boat. And here's, you got to see why this works. So once it's in place and true with the string, we don't move it. Now, I've taped my boat with painter's tape, and I've dropped down my square, touching, oops, I got to get it right there, touching my T here. And now I've made a line there. This is my benchmark line that I've got. And you can see I've made some white line right there so I can see it on the painter's tape. I've done the same on the opposite side. So now I know where this mark is exactly on the other side. And I don't have to trust boat geometries and curvatures that vary from side to side on many boats. So with that said, on this particular boat, I'm going to go back 6 inches from this mark here to make my install point there. So all I got to do now is just measure simple. I'll use a tape measure in this case. I'm going to measure back 6 inches. I'm just going to go make myself a random mark so I know, not random, but so I know where it's at. And I'll line it up there. So now I've got my Sharpie, and now I want to be up 3 inches. So I'm going to come off the rub rail in this particular case here. I'm setting up there to make sure it's true. I find that there's my truths, and I've got crosshairs right this. I'll always double check. Always, as we say, measure twice, cut or drill once. So I'll come in here and check again. I'm at 6 inches, and then I'll also use my tape measure, and I see I'm 3 inches up from the rub rail there. And I'll do the exact same measurement on the other side of the boat, and then I'll be ready to drill. We're ready to drill a hole in the boat here. We've taped off, we've measured twice, 3 times to make sure we're absolutely where we want to be. I made a mark here to go ahead and establish where I'm at. Once again, I've double checked this. I know on the back side I'm clear, there's no obstructions. I've got easy access to my front one too. So right now, I like to do a real quick pilot drill first, and then I'll chase it with a 9/16 from my Cuda. So I'm just gonna run my bit in reverse, come up here. I'd already started the hole, so I made it a little fast. So now I'll go ahead and set to my 9/16 bit. You can get these at Lowe's or Home Depot or anything. Tighten her up. I'll go ahead and run a high speed, medium pressure. And we are through, just like that. Now, last but not least, we've got to go ahead and clean this thing up. We're going to clean it up with what we call a stone here. And I want to show you this real quick on the camera. This is a stone that you can buy at, say, Ace or a Lowe's or something. It's just a round stone. You can get a triangulated one too. It looks like a pyramid. And it's how we break the gel coat edge so we don't have any sharp edges to propagate fractures there. So it's very simple. I'll just come in. I can do it with the tape on there. I'll check it later on. Bear down. I want to make sure I push down it fairly hard. And I'll go ahead and pull the tape back here and double check it here, just to make sure we're good. I like a little bit more on that, so I'm going to put a nice chamfer there. And I've got my 9/16 hole ready to go for that particular installation pad. We've got our hole drilled. We've got it also, the edge broken there, or deburred if you will, so that we can fracture propagations of the gel coat. We pull our tape back, so we're ready to put it in there. We've got what we call a single mount base here. And what we've done is we've got a flat gasket on here. This fits this hole best. There's also a shaped or formed one that'll fit the radius of your hole. If you have more radius, that's also included in your kit. But today we just need a flat one. We've taken the liberties earlier of inserting this stud there with this Allen wrench here. We put blue Loctite on here and screwed it into here, so it's already in place. We've allowed the setup. We're good to go there. Very important now. We just used some lubriplate here today. It says brake lube, but don't worry, it's a lithium-based grease. We put it on there to stop galling of our stainless shaft here, our threaded shaft, with our stainless nylock. So, with that said, let's go ahead and slide it through there. I've got my base plate on the back side. It is formable aluminum, so we can form it as needed. There's my nylock. I'll put that in place, and then I'll get inside and go ahead and tighten this down securely. All right, today what we're looking at is a Big Air Cuda tower for installation. We went ahead and laid all our parts out here in the studio just to show you the basic pieces that you're going to get. Our parts box is not included. We kept this out of the picture for now, but go into the parts real quick. We've got our H-member, we have our front legs, and our port side and our starboard side legs, and then our corners there. Now, for ease of the video, we went ahead and installed a few minor parts. We went and put our leg ends in place here. They run with a single bolt there, no problem. You'll see those parts included, one bolt. And then we went and put our corner connectors here too. You can see they rotate somewhat freely, and you'll see that in instructions too. That saves us time. That's just one bolt. And so once again, these are the basic parts. And now we're going to go and show you how the pre-assembly is going to go. All right, the next step we're going to do now for our assembly for our Cuda tower is we went and put our front legs on. You can see them right here and here. And then we've got our corners in place and ready to go on also. Now, we slid these just into this pocket here and set it with set screws. This is still loose, so we've got a little tension with the set screws, but you can see we can move it there. And same with our leg ends. They're not tight, they're just in place, so we can adjust everything. We don't want to get anything tight at this time. The next step, once again, our corner connectors are still loose also. I can rotate them by hand. Now, what I'll do is I'll just probably bump them up with my Allen wrench, which is supplied there. I bump it up and I back it off just a fraction corner turn, and I can rotate it. Now, all you're going to do now is simply install your corners. You'll just slide them in place, grab the supplied Allen wrenches, and make those up into place. You can do them by hand, and then tighten them up. And we'll do all four corners, and then we'll show you how to put the tower together on the floor. Okay, we've assembled a little more of the tower now. We put our corners in place. We've used our two bolts here and here, using our Allen wrenches and put them in there. Now we've left temporarily, we've left our lock washers out just to make it easy for us. But when you do these assemblies, you do need your lock washers on these to fill up the gap and allow the bolts to get the grip that they need. So don't forget that little bit. So as you can see, one of the tricks I want to show you right now while I've got this half here is we measured 12 inches from the end on this black tower and made a white mark. We use some white out, which will come off easily. On both legs you want that, so you'll know where you're at and make an easy measure point as we do the assembly. And you'll see the need for this later on. Now we've got our tower together, as you can see. All we've done, we've taken our halves and slid into our H. In this case, we're running the Cuda as a forward slant, so we've got our head on our H member to the back. We put lithium grease, you could use Vaseline, that's all you got, on the tips of the corners here. And then we've slid in and we put our painter's tape here to stop us from sliding in too far and scratching our powder coat finish up. So that's really important to us. We don't want to over-engage it. It can happen quite easily. Now, remember our white marks here too. We've got these 1 foot. You could go 16, 18 inches, whatever. But we choose 1 foot, make a mark. If you've got a polished tower, just use a black Sharpie mark. So now our tower is virtually ready for us to measure the boat, install our rear mounts, and then we'll adjust our tower to fit from that for our next piece. we've measured our boat, we've installed our rear mounts, and we know that we're on this particular boat, we're right about 82 inches on our rear mount. So now we're going to set our tower, and actually we kind of cheated and got ahead here, and we've got some bolts already in the tower. But I'm going to show you how we're going to measure and how we want to do it. It's called preload. So if you come along, I'll show you here real quick. I've got in the studio here. You can set this up in your yard or your garage. As I measure in between the legs here, you're going to see I've got this one sitting right 78 inches, which tells you that I've got, from my 82, I've got about a 4-inch preload. That's what we like to see. You can do a little bit more. The more you do, the stronger or the less movement you would see out of the tower. We're big fans of preload, but 4 inches is a great number. And so with that, now I'm going to drill the last bolt. We'll show you that, and then we'll be ready to install this tower. All right, we've measured our tower, we've measured our boat. We know we've got our preload built into the tower, so now we're ready to drill. We've kind of cheated and gone ahead and drilled a couple of the holes already. We got the tower stand in the studio, much like you can in your garage or out in your yard, whatever. We've actually got it tied up here. You might want to do the same or support it with a board. That's fine for a Cuda tower. So I've measured to get to my 4-inch preload. I've got them all even, and I know on this particular one I'm a few inches out from an interior mark. So I know where I need to be. I'm ready to drill. I've checked everything to make sure they match. And so I'm simply just going to go ahead and drill through this side first, and then we'll do the other side after that. And there you go, there's your first hole there. And you use about a 7/16 bit is typically what you can use, or a 3/8, but you probably have to waller that out a little bit. So we recommend a 7/16. It's the preferred bit size there. We've measured for our light bar. We want to go ahead and do this in the studio today to make our life a little easier instead of drilling in the boat. So we measured over from the center of the head, 8 inches. And we're going to be running our wiring, in this case, down the starboard side. That's where our stereo system is on this particular boat. And so I pre-drilled a small 1/4-inch hole here, and I'm going to finish up. I'm going to go ahead and put a 9/16, so I've got plenty of room for a grommet or a wiring sheet there. And so we'll just go ahead. You can see how easy it is to drill this. We are virtually through. There we go. We got it. We're done. Our tower's virtually assembled. We're ready to go on our boat, but before we do that, we have to go in and tighten our corner connectors, which connect the corners to the lower leg section. So what we've done is we've come in here and we put a piece of painter's tape. On a polished tower, you can use a Sharpie because you can wipe that off later on. You can see we've cut it here, and we're going to take this apart and line these up in a second and show you how we're going to tighten them and then reassemble. We've removed our starboard side leg. We talked about how these were loose when we assembled it, so now we still got our painter's tape. We can line it up. I'm just going to go in and bump this. Now I'm going to come in here and make sure my lines line up there, and then I'm going to use my Allen wrench, slowly tighten, come back and check, tighten it down. Now what you do have to have here, we didn't show this, there's Loctite on it. Do not use a lock washer on this because this head needs to be below the deck. So we use a good coating of blue Loctite on there, and that will secure this bolt. So once again, tighten it with Loctite first, tighten it down, tape is lined up. We're good to go, and you're going to do this on all four and then reassemble your tower. Before that, we do that, sometimes you might have to go ahead and run your wiring hole. We'll talk about that in a separate segment. All right, we've got the Cuda connectors. The corner connectors are already tightened up. This tower is ready to go back together. But before we do it, we're going to run some wiring in advance before we put this on the boat. Typically, all the Cudas have a wiring passage already exist. Somewhere around 3/8 of an inch in diameter, but we're running larger than a 4-pin, which will go through there, or 4-wire. So we're going to run a bigger hole so we can get our 8-wire and loop through there. So to do that, I'm going to go ahead and chase the existing hole with a 7/16 drill bit. So it shouldn't be a problem. I've already pre-drilled some of it just for expediting the video, and so we should finish up the hole here real quick. And we're through. we are ready to actually assemble our tower. We've gone in and pre-wired our starboard leg here. You can see we went ahead and drilled out a 9/16 hole to run our wire out. There was an existing wire hole that we enlarged on a 4-pin loom. You would not need this larger hole, but since we're running this 8-pin setup, we've gone ahead and done that. And then we've already drilled up top earlier, as you saw. We've tightened and Loctited our bolts and set our set screws. And so our assembly is ready. And what we've done off camera was we've connected a fish wire to our wire loom. We just cut a couple wires away and tied them around a hook on some baling wire, any type of formable wire, routed through. We have the hole here, and we're going to go ahead and just pull our wire through there. Sometimes it's very easy, and sometimes it's tough. I won't lie, but most on the Cuda is pretty friendly here, so I expect we'll be able to go ahead and fish this on through without much problem as that goes. I'm going to have to go ahead and stand my leg up here. Get a little awkward trying to stand everything up, but we should be okay. So I'll just hold this gently and finish my fishing there. And here it comes out there. Now you got to be careful not to pull it off, and there it's come through. And then we'll finish fishing that. And then we'll go ahead and start our wires. And once again, we've tied these up. Our lines are lined back up on our tape. And we're going to bolt this up, and we're ready to put this tower on the boat. It's go time. We finally got our tower going onto our boat. We've got our mounts in place. As you saw earlier, we went ahead and put our swivels on, just very loose. That's what we wanted for an installation. We attached the far side, and to protect our boat, the best application for us in this situation was to lay this tower backwards. You could actually hang it, but we know not everybody has an indoor garage or a tree to hang it from. My personal preference would be to hang it from above, but we want to make it a little bit easier. We want to make it more applicable to you, the customer, in this type of situation. So this is probably the toughest way to do it, but everything else would be easier. And so on top of that, just to show you a cheat, we put a board back here, our T, and then we just got a drop cloth to protect everything. Once again, we'll connect it over there. So now we'll bring the camera in closer. Just going to show you, this tower has somewhere around 4 to 6 inches of preload. And so what we're going to do is show you that one person can do it. I've got my shoulder bolt, and I'm going to go ahead and pull this in and just slightly thread it here. And it does take some strength, but I should be able to do it with one hand. I'm just going to bring it down there gently. I'll line up my hole and start my thread. Grab my wrench. And I've got thread. And we're good to go. All right, we've got our Cuda tower in place. We've installed our rear mounts. We've suspended it here for ease. You can once again use a 2x4. We went ahead and connected the other side because it's out of sight. But here we come in and mark this front mount here. We went ahead and put a gasket in there. As you can see, the leg can be swiveled out. We've got our set screws just a little light there so we can move it in with control. We've gone in and made sure that the top of our tower with a level is level with the floor of the boat. That's what we like to use typically. And then we've used also side to side, just making sure it's accurate. And so we're very comfortable where we're at now. I've gone in here and I've pushed the leg in here, and I've taken a circle or a pencil here, and we just circled around where our base is going to go. And then I've used my gasket, once I pull it away, to put it in there and make my initial one up. I went ahead and made an initial hole here, and we'll finish up with our 9/16 and insert our base there. And then our tower will essentially be installed. All right, we've got our tower in place. There's a few things left to be taken care of, and that is finishing tightening up all our connections. First of all, always remember we were supposed to Loctite our threads that went through our mounts. Same goes here. We've got our lock washers on these fasteners, but what a lot of people might be prone to forget is we've got to come in and put our piece of tape here and line up this connection and tighten it up now that the installation's done. The same goes for back here. So I've got my piece of tape, I'll pull these legs off, and then I'll tighten them up there. But my tape is my alignment mark. You could use a pencil or a pen, but I like a piece of tape because then I can actually just sit there and cut the tape and bring it back in and line it up.
All right, Our Cuda tower is complete. It's installed. It's wired. We're ready to go to the lake. So, with that said, if you have any questions for us, please email us, call us. We're there for you to help you in installation. That's one of the big things about Big Air. We are there after the sale to help our customers out. We've been there for 18 plus years and we'll continue to be around. So give us a call. We're going to back you up and take care of you on these installations. And once again, thanks for tuning in to Big Air TV. Have a great day.